Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of What CD is Rob listening to now? And now, we go back to 1986 and Somewhere in Time. This album was written and finally released after a very long and extensive tour to support Iron Maiden's previous album, Power Slave. By the end of that tour, the entire band were exhausted, and Bruce Dickinson so much so that the songs he did present to the band for this album were sort of acoustic based tunes, because he wanted to sort of make this sort of their physical graffiti, from what I read. So some more acoustic based tunes, but they were rejected by the band in favor of their usual brand of melodic hard rock and heavy metal songs. This album kicks off with Caught Somewhere in Time, the first of several songs that deal with the subject of time on this album. This song is what you would expect from Iron Maiden at this point, and could have come from the previous album. It's a hard rocker with blistering guitar section, a rhythm section that is a driving force in music to this day, and a wonderful vocal performance. At nearly 7.5 minutes, this is also the first of 4 tunes that clock in at over 6 minutes on this album. Wasted Years, a song written by guitarist Adrian Smith, is the album's lead single. This song is some seriously cool stuff with some higher notes on the guitar, leading the band into a very cool riff playing under the first verse. Nico has really settled into a fantastic style, as evidenced on this song as well. His playing and sound are just perfect for the band. Vocally, Bruce sounds amazing on this track as well, especially on that classic vocal melody during the chorus. It's probably among my top 10 favorite choruses from the band, and indeed a top 10 song as well. I'm just a sucker for a good melodic rocker. Sea of Madness kicks off with an absolute headbanging pace. Some guitars and drums lead into a bass riff that is unlike anything I've heard thus far from Harris. This song is definitely a rocker with that vocal melody that only Iron Maiden could deliver, and Bruce sings it to perfection. The guitar solo section here reminds me a bit of a heavier Boston tune, and that just can't be a bad thing in my mind. At just under 6 minutes, this is another epic tune on an album chock full of them. Heaven Can Wait and Side A. Remember Side A? That was for you record and cassette people, which was all you could get this on back in the day, I believe. I don't know if this was ever on CD, or if this came out on CD when it was first released. Anyway, it ends Side A, and it's another track that clocks in at over 7 minutes. This tune is the first I can really hear the guitar since, which I read the band started playing around with on this album. And I think it has a really cool vibe and elevates the song to a height it wouldn't have been to without it. Now, there's some great bass guitar here, a really amazing guitar performance, and as usual, Bruce sounds fantastic. This is another favorite track of mine. What a great melodic rocker with a killer vocal melody and even some harmonizing during the instrumental section, which I just love. There's so much going on in this song, I can safely say that I consider this one to be a real prog rocker. The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. Say that 10 times fast. I mean, it's probably easy, but it'll take a little bit. This track begins side B of the album. Another tune running in at over 6 minutes. This one is another hard-rocking progressive feast with a really cool sounding bass riff bringing the song in, with some guitars and snare bringing the song into full force as the band rock out once again. The drums sound fantastic on this fast-paced tune. The guitar solos on this song just smoke. I've always loved how the guitars can play together in this band to create such a cool sound and vibe. Definitely something they perfected through the years. There are more synths here, which I just love. I know some people will probably think I'm crazy, but I believe they just really elevated this album to a phenomenal status. Next up, the title track, Stranger in a Strange Land, was the second single from the album, and is lyrically about an Arctic... Wait, Stranger in a Strange Land is not a title track. It's the second single from the album. I don't know why I told you it was this title track. This is called Somewhere in Time. Jeez, Rob, get your shit together. Stranger in a Strange Land was the second single from the album, and is lyrically about an Arctic explorer who dies and is frozen in ice. The guitar solo here is delivered by Adrian Smith, who said that the song gave him space to play in with its medium-paced tempo. The song comes in with a killer bass guitar riff that leads into one of the best riffs on the album. The song has an almost apocalyptic feel to it that I just love. Definitely a highlight in the band's catalog for me. Next up, Deja Vu starts with a sort of atmospheric feel, with just the bass and some shredding guitars, leading into another all-out rocker. Some of the music here is definitely synthesized, and the vocals have a really cool effect applied to them. It's a bit unlike the rest of the album, and yet in some ways, it's much like the rest of the album, if that makes any sense at all. Now, once again, I love the vocal melodies here. It's probably the highlight of the track for me, although the instrumentation is just fantastic as well. Alexander the Great closes out the album, a song about the Macedonian king. At over 8 minutes, it is the longest song on the album. It's something I always enjoy. I feel like with longer songs, you can feel the song sort of unfold in a different way than shorter songs can. They can add more instrumentation, more cool ideas, repeat stuff. I mean, I always loved that about prog tunes. This one was written by Steve Harris, and the song comes in sort of like a funeral march with some guitars played over them before the full band kicks in on another hard-rocking epic tune. Once again, the vocal melody here is just fantastic, something I'll always notice first. That's why I think I like bands like this more than like bands like Pantera and stuff, because I like a good vocal melody and a good singer, and while I like the music of Pantera, the full package of Iron Maiden is just better to me. Again, it's just because of vocals. I really love the singing over the screaming. On this track, we also get more guitar synths, which is never a bad thing to me, and they sound fantastic, hiding under a really cool guitar solo that moves into a harder, kind of heavier guitar solo section. Just so much great instrumentation going on in this song, and instrumentally the song takes the album out in such a fine fashion. It often makes me want to start the disc over again, which is why this is probably one of my favorite Iron Maiden albums. I'm gonna rank all the studio albums in order of my least listened to most listened to with my friend Jordan on his YouTube channel, and I think we're doing this on Friday, so maybe I'll put up some kind of link or reminder video when that happens, but this is definitely going to finish in the top half. Definitely one of my favorite, although the album cover is a bit strange. I don't know what Eddie's up to. I mean, he's somewhere in time. There's a lot of references to songs and albums of the band's past in there. Really cool stuff if you got time to sort of dissect that and check it all out. It's sort of lots of mentions. And there's Eddie. Looks like somehow he's lost somewhere in time. Anyhow, we'll be back next time, either today or tomorrow, with my review of Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. Until then, doodles.